Okay, okay, good morning, all participants. Professor Harpreet Singh from IIT Ropar has joined. Welcome, sir. I'm Dr. Jagdeep Sharma. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I have made you the co-host. Now you can also share your screen, and as well as you can unmute your mic. So, dear participants, today Dr. Harpreet Singh from IIT Ropar will deliver his expert talk. And let me formally introduce Dr. Harpreet Singh. Okay, Dr. Harpreet Singh is with us, and Dr. Harpreet Singh is professor and dean at IIT Ropar. So, after obtaining his bachelor's from Punjabi University Patiala and master's from Punjab University Chandigarh, he completed his PhD degree in mechanical engineering from IIT Roorkee. He has awarded 2 patents and filed 4 patents. He has completed several CSIR, DST, and AICT sponsored projects. He has authored more than 100 papers in international and national journal and conference proceedings. He has attended many conferences in USA, Canada, Netherlands, and South Korea. Dr. Harpreet Singh's main research area is surface engineering, degradation of materials, high temperature corrosion and its protection, slurry erosion of hydraulic turbines and control, biomedical coatings, sustainable manufacturing technology, modulation, assisted machining, friction stir processing, welding, and bioenergy generation and analysis. He has guided a number of MTech and PhD dissertations. He is a reviewer. He is a reviewer of many national and international journals. He has contributed 5 chapters in different books. He has been awarded with Young Scientist Award, Career Award for Young Teachers, and Maharashtra Award for Outstanding Research Work by Teachers of Engineering Colleges. He has been awarded with Faculty Research and Innovation Award 2017-18 by IIT Ropar. He is Senior Vice President of Society of Materials and Mechanical Engineering, Punjab. So, Professor Harpreet Singh has a vast experience, and now I welcome Professor Harpreet, sir. And yes, sir, if you can start.
Thank you. Good morning to all of you. I hope I am audible. Let me share my screen and then I'll start.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Okay, so is it now in the presentation mode?
Yes, now it is in the presentation mode.
Okay. So I'll stop my video because my internet is not that stable. So I will simply present my screen and start, right?
Okay, sir.
So, well, so once again, very good morning to all of you. It's a really pleasure to, deliver this talk in, our, alma mater. So, this Gyani Singh College of Engineering Technology is my alma mater. So, I did my graduation BTech from here. So, it's a matter of proud for me that I am giving or delivering this talk today. Secondly, I must, congratulate and, compliment the organizers for conducting such courses on research methodology, because this is really need actually. When we see the scenario, we know that we, the teachers in such engineering colleges, are now not limited to only teaching. Rather, um, we are, supposed to do, research also, and not only research. Rather, we have to mobilize some, sources also in terms of money or internal revenue generation to our institutions. So there, when we talk about this, then especially when we talk about funding, rather, if I start from research, so when I say research, research means I need to have some money in my hand, okay? Because quite often we need some money, and most of the institutions are unable to provide that money. And so the money, of course, you can spend some money from your pocket, but not always. So that means we must have some ways and means to get some money for our research. So this will not only benefit ourselves, but at the institution level also, we are helping our institutions in terms of developing some fund or corpus for our institute, which is a need actually. Unfortunately or fortunately, our governments are not that much sensitive to this, catering to education and health. To be very frank, they are putting everything on our shoulders, taking all load off their shoulders and putting to on our heads or shoulders to bear these kind of expenses, which is unfortunate in my opinion, personal opinion. Somebody may differ from here with me also. But then what we can do, we have to adapt actually. We have to adapt to the new situations, new scenarios, and that is where I usually uh, you know um, appreciate those who talk about research and then who would talk about funding and so on. So when we talk about research, of course, you must be hearing a lot of things from other speakers, and will also continue to hear till I think Friday. So in research, quality research is very important actually, and you will of course get to know that what are the real methodologies. For example, your search, whatever results you are producing, they must be consistent, they must be reliable, and then there are some technologies or methodologies by which you can design your experiments. You can check the repeatability in your tests or results and so on. So please learn all those things actually. Research is not about doing some experiments and then reporting the results. Rather, it is more meticulous work in terms of designing actually the experiments. You have to be very careful that you follow some standard protocols so that you develop some reliable results which can be accepted by our community, research community. Only then it will be beneficial. Uh, Rather, I say usually nowadays that do less work, but do it with more repeatability, actually, more reliability. For example, if you have to conduct testing of some material, don't test it on one or two samples, rather test it on say five and so on, so that you get some very good reliable results. Another thing which I prefer to tell you guys, of course, I am off the topic right now, but I want to be more informal today rather than formal. So the second thing which I must say here is that uh, we people are good, in producing results actually. We can do a lot of experiments, especially in this region of India. People can come up with nice test tricks, and they can do any kind of experiments I have seen in the lab, whatever is possible within the constraints. But then the major thing where we lack is, explaining our results, answering to why actually. If we are seeing that something is changing, why it is changing. So why is very important aspect of research, which we all should emphasize, and which should be we should be able to explain it. Then how to explain it? Then the question comes. So explanations usually come from your own fundamental knowledge. Secondly, very important is the literature survey. So you need to, validate your results. You need to compare your results with the literature, and then come up with some kind of, discussion where you discuss about similarities and dissimilarities. Only then you will be able to propose some kind of, mechanistic point of view of your results. So this is very important actually, but at the same time, it's not difficult also. Okay, don't produce so many results. Results, focus your study on small part, but to a greater depth actually. So PhD is about going deeper into one aspect, not producing many results. So when you will focus on those small set of results, but reliable results, which are repeated time and again, then you will be able to propose some good kind of, hypothesis or theory, and so on. This is what I wanted to, say to have this my, starting comments. Now coming back to the this topic, which is writing a research proposal and executing the project. No, my idea here is that, as I said, money is scarce nowadays. We need money, right? So gone are those days when our honorable Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister said, Manmohan Singh ji said that the Indian scientists are swimming in money. It's no more true now. Okay, so now it is very, very scarce. Research money is scarce. Institutions can't give you money. So then, but you have to do research. We can't stop actually. We can't stop that somebody is, not giving us money, right? So we have to live a good life. We have to improve our lives. We have to improve the quality of our institutions. We have to improve the quality of our students. So for that, research is very important. And research means money. So that is where I correlate this topic in this theme of this conference or this workshop. That what are the, ways by which we can get the money. Now, money can be obtained in India, from especially from some of the, funding agencies like DST, CSIR, BRNS, and so many. There are agencies. And second way of getting money is uh, through our industry or through consultancy or joint projects with industry and so on. But to do all this, we need to, have some kind of, preparation or some kind of protocols in mind, that whenever we write a proposal to say industry or to an agency, funding agency, which will be government or non-governmental, we should know that how we should write our research proposal. And once we get the money, we should also know that how we use that money so that we don't face any kind of, unpleasant situations later on. So that's what I want to, present today. These are the points of discussion or learning, which I would like to answer today. What is the research proposal? Why I should write and execute a proposals? Quite often people may say that, okay, I am in a government job, so why I need to write it, right? And what is a consultancy project, and how much I get, uh, especially from consultancy projects, and will institute take some share from these projects and consultancy? How to write a research proposal? This is another major theme of or major question for today. What is technology transfer? Is there any personal benefit for doing projects? Again, as correlated to this, so quite often we may say that why I need this one. Just a minute. So, is there any personal benefit? And then once I get the money, how to use it, uh, and more importantly, how to present the proposal, because lot will depend when you will go to present your proposal in front of the agency, and what are the funding opportunities, and how institute will benefit from outside funding. Because this why I'm answering this, because quite often even institutions sometimes they don't prefer, uh, especially those who are more into bureaucratic practices. I'm sorry to say that they will always ask why this guy is doing his own project. What is there for institute, right? So, and if the involvement of projects is important, of industry is important in these projects, so it is that I will also comment on that, and how the projects help to build up connections nationally and internationally. How the research facilities can be made self-sustaining. Now, this is again one of the challenges nowadays, that once you get the money, you get the equipment, then again I said institutions are not going to help us. So how to make it self-sustaining? For example, I have this cold space system here. So I mobilize money, right, 3 crore or so. But then the question now is that how to make it self-sustaining, because it has its own maintenance charges and so on. So how to do that? And of course, many more you are welcome to ask during the and after the talk. This is like one slide, which is, of course, it's 2 years old now, data now. Um, okay, by the way, let me correct our uh, person who introduced me, our faculty, that I am now no more dean. Actually, I have completed my tenure. Okay, so I am now professor in mechanical engineering. Just to correct or put the things into perspective. Now, anyway, just to set the cards. Now, this is why I'm showing this. That this is the progress of IIT Rockford. We started in 2009, and this is how the number of projects go up. So this is the progression, right? And this is the consultancy, industrial consultancy. As I said, there are two ways by which we can mobilize money. One is through sponsored projects, and another are from the industry consultancy projects. Okay, so the IIT Roper has done fairly good in this one. Of course, we are picking up in this industrial consultancy also, and these are the money part of it. 94 crore or so in first 10 years. Of course, 2020 was very proactive year when we got another grant of 100 crore. So now we are touching somewhere to 25 crore and so on in nutshell, right? This is a cumulative. All this is cumulative, and IIT Roper is now probably doing something like 300 projects completed and and in progress. And of course, money coming from the this one. So why I'm showing so, because we started with empty rooms, I would say. We started from a polytechnic college, right? And nothing was there. Not even a single machine was there. Actually, everything was taken away. So by so if IIT Roper can do this thing in 10 years, why not other institutions replicate it? Of course, I understand that we have quality challenges and funding, etc. But this is not a funding from government. Let me tell you, this is a funding generated by a faculty itself. Institute has no real role to play. Rather, 10% of this might approximately will go to the institution, right? So rather, we are earning money for the institute. Of course, you can say that IIT faculties are more experienced and so on. But let me tell you, all were young actually. Um, the but even if I go by that logic that they have better experience and so on, then why not 245? Why not a college can touch say 50 or 60 jets in 10 years? Even that will also be not bad, I would say, right? So I mean, uh, there is a because quite why I'm answering this because a lot of people will say, oh, sir, आपका तो IIT है, and so on. ठीक है IIT है but then this factor this 245 figure may come to say 50 but even that's not bad and if I'm not mistaken many institutions will not have 50 or 60 projects in the last 10 years or so. So so I mean there is a scope there is a scope to relook into our own capabilities. And let me tell you another point, you people are also capable. You also have done, most of you have done PhDs, and most of you have done PhDs with some of the good faculties. So it's only a willpower actually. We need to write projects. Hmm? So let it be failure, but let us keep on trying. So that's where I want to put my point here. That things work actually. Things work when we start working, okay, when we start trying, I would say, to be precise. So this is another slide, in general slide, which I want to show. Of course, most of you would know about this. These are the kind of facilities which we can generate through funding, okay. So we have developed this facility. Now we are making it self-sustainable, and we are getting some, consultancy projects and so on. Now, let us discuss more formally on our topic, which is what is research proposal. So, when we say research proposal, it's a research plan written to achieve some specific scientific or engineering objectives with well-defined deliverables, timeline, and budget. This is quite a meaningful definition, so which covers almost all aspects. So, basically, you have to have some objectives in your mind. But not only objectives, you should have clearly deliverables, that what is going to be coming out of this project. And since it's a project, you have to have a very fixed timeline for that, and of course some idea about the budget. So once you prepare this, I will talk more on research proposal writing. But once it is done, usually we submit it to some agency which can sponsor the funding to execute the proposed work. So sponsor the work, right? Sponsor the funding. So usually submitted in the response to calls for proposals for from the funding agency. This mostly most of the agencies now streamlining it, that they usually send a call for proposals, but some agencies are open all the time, right? For example, CSIR, still I think they don't give any call, rather they have on their website that anytime you can submit the proposal and so on. So it's not always true, but usually now what I have seen in the last few years, things are changing in the sense that now funding agencies are giving call for proposals on fixed themes actually. For example, they will say, okay, we need proposals on renewable energy. We need people on, proposal on, say, new materials and so on. So those things we have to explore. And funding agency may be governmental or non-governmental. So this is both are possible. And then what is consultancy project? So consultancy project is basically an assignment taken by investigator or investigators from some agency to solve a predefined technical scientific problem. Now here the problem is predefined actually in a given time with a pre-decided consultancy fees. So this is the difference here, that it's not that you are going to propose the objectives here in the research way. You are going to propose some objectives, but here the industry will come to you. They will say, okay, we want to say develop some, say if I talk about cold spray, so a company may come to me. They will say, okay, we want to deposit coatings on this part. So this is the material. So can you do it, right? And this is the time, 3 months, 4 months, and this is the fees we can offer. Or sometimes this fees is basically based on the our kind of mutual agreement. So you have to discuss with the industry. You most oftenly we propose a fees and then they discuss and so on. Usually agency approaches the consultants. So this is the difference here, that in the previous case we approach to the funding agency, but here the agency approaches the consultants. Consultants mean these PIs or the faculty in this case. Budgeting and timeline are done prior to the start of work, and terms and conditions of the contract are very clearly defined, and contract is signed, especially with regard to IPR and so on. So things are pretty clear here, because consultancy with industry is more serious business. So we have to put all things in black and white. Then there is another term which is kind of emphasized by now governments. They are asking time and again what kind of technologies you have transferred, TT. So here the inventors already have achieved some level of TRL. So for example, you develop something in your lab. Okay, so up to this, usually this technology readiness level is the yardstick to define our technology readiness. Okay, so we start 1 2 3, so we have 9 levels of this technology readiness level. So usually we go up to this in our labs, we go up to technology development. If we talk about our labs or educational institutions, maybe 3 to 4, or uh, that's the level which we reach here. Okay, so suppose you develop some material. So you have done its feasible study, you have done a lot of say experimental work, you have tested those materials and so on, and then you are pretty confident that it will work. uh, so then you start this work. Usually above 5, and so this comes once you uh, do the technology transfer, right? Or with the help of industry and so on. So the condition here is that you must have already achieved some level of TRL, 3 to 4. Then the technology is transferred to some other agency, usually industry. Terms of payment are arrived at with mutual consent. Now here there are different kind of models which are possible. Uh, Maybe you can go with the revenue share models like profit sharing, or you can think about one-time license fees also, and many more are possible. In fact, this will come once you guys will sit with the person who is getting your technology. Then you can think about how to go about it. But the point here is that this technology transfer will always lead to give some money to yourself as well as your institution, some part of it. For example, at IIT Rockford, if I develop a technology, so I'll get some money from the industry, and out of that money, I think 30% goes to the institute and 70% goes to me. So this is a driving force for such kind of technology transfers. Uh, then better to patent the technology before technology transfer. So this is some kind of caution that once you start discussing your technology with the possible vendors, you have to patent your technology, right? And of course, again here again a contract is signed which state all the terms and conditions, right from your profit sharing and all other things. Okay, so all arbitrary clauses and arbitration and things like that. So a nicely documented agreement is made, which is then executed. Now the question comes, as I said, why I should write and execute a proposal, right? Which, as I said earlier, people usually ask about it. These are some of the points which I have listed here. Um, of course, it's not exhaustive list. There may be some more points. So one is professional growth. Okay, this is professional growth. If I write and execute some proposals, this will lead to kind of my professional growth in terms of research, teaching, personal reputation. So, for example, why you are calling me today to deliver this lecture? Because I have demonstrated something in research and teaching, and of course, you get a lot of connections um, when you do research, and monetary benefit also. So, to some extent, you get some money for your you know uh, growth. And so this is one aspect of it, that we have the professional growth, but at the same time we have institutional growth as well. So if I write good projects, if I bring a lot of consultancy, my institution will also get some share of it. In other words, we will be contributing to the growth of our institute. So some part goes to department and some goes to the institutions for the revenue generation. Uh, of course, there are different models, how much is to be given to institution. Different institutions have their own systems. And of course, this also goes to national growth in terms of publications, patents, skill development, etc. So once you have got some kind of project, you execute it. Obviously, you have to do some kind of deliverables in terms of publications, patents, and so on. So that contributes to the national growth as well, and to cope with the changing governmental policies as well. Okay, so institutions see a lot of things come from upside to down, from top to bottom. For example, Indian government say they want to spend more money in say AI, so artificial intelligence and so on. So you come to know that. So this is something which is changing. So that is where uh, you come to know about it, right? And once you know that what are the priorities of government, and then you get more involved into it, and this again contributes indirectly to your professional growth in terms of getting connections and getting more grants and so on. It's like a cascading effect and so on. Now then the question, how much I get monetarily out of this one depends upon institutional policy, but some benefit is assured. So if you bring some project or consultancy, for example, if we have a sponsor project, in sponsored projects right now, Indian government does not give you direct money which you can put in your pocket. Of course, this will happen soon, because in developed countries they are following these models. But anyway, that has its own bad bad sides also. So usually no direct money, but PDF, professional development fund, is usually reserved, right? So out of the overheads of that project, which you can use for your cell phone, AC, furniture, etc., for your office, okay, and so on. But then when we talk about industrial consultancy, here we get the direct money which you can put in your pocket, okay, and in technology transfer, again direct money as royalty or single time license fees can also be. So what is meant here, that money is also a driving force when you know so that is where I wanted to comment on this. Now, having understood why I should write proposals and what are the benefits, here now let us talk about how to write a research proposal. So again, these are some of my observations, uh, you know This presentation is more like my own personal experiences. So again, these may not be exhaustive, uh, but since I got some funding through following these kind of strategies, so I thought of sharing this, right? So some of the points: the proposal should be meticulously written in a self-contained manner. Now, this self-contained word I read somewhere uh, very early, I think in my second or third research paper, I came to know about this term, which is beautiful in the sense that everything should be there in the proposal. It should not happen that your reviewer has to then call you or something like that. You should write your proposal in a manner that a person who is reading it should be understand everything everything so that is the point. You should not keep on turning pages or going it into say Google or somewhere else. All the important issues should be explained in a well planned manner, in a concise manner, yet optimum length, right? So here, concise is important because quite often these forms which are being or performance which are being used for our research proposals, they will limit you to word limit actually. Okay, so you should know what is to be written, and that should be written in a concise manner, not in a verbose kind of things, right? Stick to the word limits, as I said. Inclusion of proof of concept. Inclusion of proof of concept will work wonders. What I mean, suppose you want to propose some work on coatings, then you should present or include say one para or so, maybe in literature or somewhere else, that you yourself has done some prelim work on this problem, right? It should not come that all of a sudden you are writing something on which you have never tried your hands. Okay, so proof of concept, list of reviewers will be needed in this, um, and although nothing is perfect and success depends upon evaluation done by several reviewers having varied thought process and personal opinions. This is kind of a disclaimer, but this is one. Now, what are the contents of the proposal? Uh, so this is like, we will need a title of the proposal. We will need a summary, which is usually maximum 200 words or so. Objectives, very clearly defined objectives. Background, background means literature. Problem, uh, literature in a precise manner, but more so in terms of historical perspective or in terms of financial uh, you know, this one, background. Problem definition and international and national status, methodology, impact of proposed work. So how this proposed work will be helpful, say, to Indian industry or Indian academia or national or nation at large. Budget uh, and justification. Now, this is very important that in budget part, you write justification. For example, you want to buy a travelogical setup, right? So you should be able to write at least 50 to 60 words. I will love 100 words if you can justify why you need that travelogical setup. Okay, so here you can write that you need to do this experiment and so on. Be specific. Timeline, of course, milestone wise. I'll show you a specimen here, which is again very important. Probably Gantt chart is the best way to present your timeline. So you give it and write everything, piecewise, okay, milestone wise. Uh, Roadmap, deliverables. This is very important, and references, CV of investigators, and actions if any. Let us try to understand this specific. Okay, so let me see if it works. It's not working here. Let me try some other way of doing it. Okay, let me show this one. I hope you can see this screen. Uh, this is one proposal which we had submitted to DST, right? This is a kind of, cover letter, but I want to show this is into certificate from investigators. Nothing to worry. It is usually the wording is given by the agency itself, and then endorsement from the head of the institution. Again, wording is provided by the agency, and so on. But let me. This is where we write the, experts and so on. Some agencies are asked for it also, and don't be here, kind of conservative, right? The persons who really work in that area, right? And then this is kind of, now this is what. So here we start, say, this is one proposal which we submitted 2010, rather. And uh, this is where I want to stop is, so I was talking about this project summary. This is like maximum 150 words. Okay, see, you have to be very precise here. Okay, so you have to bring the very important things in the mind of the reviewers. Okay, you can't beat about bush here. Simply write the main objective here, and then what are you going to do it. But then, of course, technical details, etc. So origin of the proposal. So here, talk more, as I said, this is like a background or introduction. So here we are talking about, it is always a good idea to start your proposal or background of the proposal or definition of the proposal with some financial aspects, okay, of your problem. That how it is going to, because whatever research we are doing, ultimately, this should benefit our, nation or industry and so on. So it's always good idea to start your origin of the proposal with some kind of financial figures or economic figures, and then you can talk about the technical things, the definition of problem. Here you try to indicate some of the, kind of, research gaps, but those gaps should be endorsed by the investigators in the literature, right? Of course, that time there was no word limit. Nowadays, they are very almost all agencies are very particular about writing these sections in say 300 words, 500 words, 2000 words is maximum. So you have to follow that. Now this is here why I want to stop for a minute. So here we have the objectives. Now, while writing objectives, you should put them in this bulleted information, right? In the form of these words, actually. Never write this in the form of a paragraph, right? So they should be very one, maximum two liners information, okay? And make them systematic in, I would say, chronological order. For example, what I mean by that. Here, for example, we start with to understand the erosion problem of some steel sites. So what we want to do, the major objective here is that we want to develop some coatings for these two steels. So how this, and these coatings are for erosion corrosion resistance. Now when I say erosion corrosion resistance, that means to start with, I have to understand that what is the problem of these two steels, okay? Now, once I understand that, then I will go to the, this solution part of it. So then I will talk about cold spray coating. I mean, we will explore this. And then thirdly, now for cold spray, I will need some powders, say feedstock powders. Then I will talk about that. And once that is done, this is also. So we will here we synthesize those particles, and then we have made the alloy powders, and then we are exploring their viability of deposition. And once you have done it, then we have to, check their usefulness in this one. And once you have tested those coatings, then you can talk about the mechanisms. So the essence here is that I am writing this in a systematic manner. I am not writing this one, this objective at number 1 to establish usefulness of developed coatings, right? I am writing in a fashion that each of these things come after in a chronological order, right? So that is what you have to follow, and this order you should follow while writing the literature also, methodology also, and so on. That order should be stuck to. Yeah. Of course, these are very somebody may call them very primitive things, but these are very useful tricks. Let me tell you. This shows that you have done some homework. You have given some thought process that what will come first and what will come later, right? Uh, and of course, importance of proposed work anyway. So what I want to show here is uh, this is work plan and so on, but I want to show this one, methodology. Now, in the methodology also, we have gone into that chronological order itself. So first will be selection of substrate materials, right? So if you can show that you have already done it and so on, formulation of nanoparticles, then characterization of nanoparticles, coating methods, characterization of, and then testing, then EC mechanisms. So you can see that there comes some kind of sequence which is in line with the objectives also, right? Uh, and so is the organization of work elements. So sometimes they want you to write these work elements or milestones. So you can write them in this fashion. This is time schedule of activities, uh, which we can write that how we are and which rather nowadays we use this Gantt charts, not in terms of this table. Okay, it's always good to write this in the form of some graph or graphical methods, right? And so on. And this is the budget. Now in budget, I was talking about the justification part of it. Whatever you propose, say SRF you have proposed here. So here we will write what is the justification for that, right? And then we talk about justification of costly consumables. So see here, we are not saying that gases will be needed. We know that argon or nitrogen will be used, so we write it here, the specific thing. Okay, so this one. So we want to get money for deposition, so we have written the right industry here, that from where we want to get it. So more details will be helpful, so that the reviewers have the uh, confidence in you that you have worked or you have done sufficient amount of uh, homework to write this proposal. So these are few points which I want to talk about the contents of the proposal. This is milestones example. Yeah, this is already I have shown you. This is the way, actually, this is the right way. I prefer, instead of this, I prefer this. Okay, so this is Gantt chart example. So this is, again, I have taken it from some of our project. I think this is I written to ARDB. So here we have this activity or milestone, right? Here we have duration, and here we have all the 12 quarters in 3 years, right? And here we mentioned that how we are doing it. So this is a very nice type of method to show our milestone progress, or I would say to propose our timeline, I should say. So literature survey, procurement and installation of MAM system, procurement of materials, everything has been meticulously planned so that we achieve the objective at the end. Okay, so we end usually the support writing and presentation and so on. Now then, now having written this proposal and submitted to the agency, so if the reviewers, they will get a review from some of the reviewers. Reviewers may be some 1 or 2 from your list and some from their own list. but it's highly random. We can't be sure that they will use our list. Anyway, so once you get the review done, the agency will then call you for the presentation. There, you have to go and present. Okay, nowadays it's online presentation again. So once shortlisted based on reviews inputs, you need to present your proposal for the section. Evaluation is done by project advisory or evaluation committee constituted by relevant funding agency. Usually we follow the presentation mode, and uh, usually format and time is given. Now this is very important actually. They will write you that you have to make say 7, 8 or 10 slides, and even they will advise you the titles of that slides, those slides also, right? So please follow that, very important. Follow their format. Another thing is time. They will always say you will be given 10 or 12 minutes or 15 minutes. You have to finish your this one. I have seen some people irritating the panel and getting rejected in spite of their very high quality work actually. We need not to, because one of the qualities of a good presenter is that he or she presents his her work in the stipulated time. So you have to be very, very careful in this. Practice your, presentation. Do some rehearsal before the actual one or mock presentation in front of your team, and stick to the time limits. Okay, very important. So usually what is discussed during the presentation, again, this is from my own experience, not necessarily that they always ask you all these aspects, but novelty is very important. That usually they may ask you what is so novel in your work. Uh, Maybe they will challenge your methodology, right? Proof of concept, if you have done, they may ask you, and how it can advance the knowledge, especially in context of mandate of the agency or roadmap. Okay, so especially this, especially when as I said, sometimes they go with the very focused themes. So, for example, say it's renewable energy, they will ask you that how it is going to help India, or so on. They may ask you what deliverables and budget sometimes, and basic knowledge. Okay. So let me show you one proposal presentation here, just like a specimen. Okay, this is. I'm sorry, I'm giving my own examples because this is easy for me to present. Um, so usually it's nobody gives you these presentations. Okay, for example, if I ask my colleague to give me this presentation, why he would give it to me? Because it's his own intellectual proposal and so on. So I am presenting my own examples here. This is one proposal which was again successful, and I just want to go through it just to give you an idea. Okay, so you should make this first slide. Again, to show your homework, when it's going to be held, where it is going to be held, and so on. So title has to be very clear here, and then this is again, I am following their format. They might have asked me the first slide should be about principal investigator, brief biodata. Now here, I should make it in the form of bulleted information. One thing is always true, be it any kind of presentation, write as minimum as possible the content. Okay, content should be very less on your slide. This is one thing. Another thing is usually bulleted information or schematics or figures, they help greatly, right? So this is a kind of summary I have projected in one slide. And then the proposed project objectives. Again, bulletin information in a chronological order or in some logical fashion. you have to present it, okay, and then background and justification. Here, Indian and global scenarios, and so on. International status. Again, I'm not writing here the big paras and so on. Okay, and then uh, what is the concept and so on, right? And then justification. Okay, so here this is again very important, and if you see, it was presented to ARDB, which is Aeronautical Research and Development Board. So I want to give you a hint here that whatever you propose in justification, you justify that how this research is going to help their mandate, ARDB's mandate in this case. Okay, so I'm not going to read these paras here, but quickly I will tell them that this is where our research can help you, right? This helps actually. This impresses the panel because it's a common sense. Every agency wants to spend money, but not for general cause, but for their own mandate mainly, right? So anyway, these are more kind of commercial slides, I would say, to just because somehow you have to uh, kind of justify. Okay. Anyway, so this is another hint here I want to present. As I said, this is good because they will ask you about the methodology. So in methodology, go with kind of flow charts. Don't again use the text or even bulleted information, right? So this is what I have made here. This is also something which you can carry home. And this is our Gantt chart and so on. These are facilities they asked, and I made the staff table and so on. Now again, outcomes and deliverables. Again, you have to write nicely here. Okay. Anyway, so this is like a budget, and here you can this. Now these are my backup slides. Although they didn't ask me as per their titles, it was not asked by me that what you have done so far, but I kept it in my backup slides. It's always a good idea to keep some slides in your backup. Okay, so if they say, okay, have you done some work, then you can ask them that, okay, sir, I have done some work. I can show you if the time permits, and so on. So this is what I want to tell you about. Okay, this will really help you. Okay, so this is about how to face the project advisory committee and what uh, are the points which you should keep in mind so that you can win this bid. Now, let us now talk about institute role and share. Actually, let me give you a bigger umbrella that if we want to encourage our faculty to write proposals, first thing which our institution should do is that we should facilitate them. We should motivate our faculty to write proposals. When I say motivate, I mean that we need to bring a lot of changes in our administrative setup. We have to facilitate in terms of management of their funds, in terms of management of their hiring process for GRFs and etc. And I suggest that a dean level, faculty level person should be there in all institutions with who understands such procedures. Okay, this of course we need DR and other levels, but they should be following the guidelines of their dean or faculty in charge and so on, because it's a faculty in charge who can understand the need of these proposals or these fundings, right? So so you have to then help PI in every possible manner. In fact, at IIT Ropar, we used to say PI is the king. So I was dean for 3 years for this industrial consultancy and sports research. So the guidelines which I got from my director was that I should respect these PIs as kings, actually, because they're bringing the money for the institution. And that's what I communicated to my staff also, my DR and others, that okay, let us respect these people because they are bringing the money. Because very soon, these people are the people who are going to save our institutions. Because politicians are, anyway, trying to close such institutions, unfortunately. So we need to, work very nicely with our admin staff, uh, so that we facilitate our PIs. Okay. So what is the role of institution? Institution will help to management of funds, because all funds will come to the name of registrar or director or principal. Then we have the institution has to issue utilization certificate, SOP and SOE, sorry, statement of expenditure every financial year. This again my advice, that whenever you get a project, every financial year, that means on every 31st March of every year, you write to your administration that I need a utilization certification uh, and statement of expenditure. It hardly matters whether your agency is asking or not, because they are going to ask you later on, sooner or later. So practice analogy, you procure this UC and SOP from your institution and send it, even without asking by the, even without being asked by the agency. Recruitment of manpower, for example, you have some JRs, etc. So they will help you. Institution will help you to recruitment of power. Okay. So again, here again, my experience is that some colleges, they get lost in sending this advertisement to newspaper and so on. No way. You have to make a policy at lower level that you are going to go into these web sources and your website and so on. Okay, this can be done. Purchase of equipment, you have to follow some GRF, GFR, whatever general financial rules and so on. Extending laboratory facilities, assistance in monitoring the progress, sometimes but not always, and arranging PI if the original leaves. Okay, anyway. Now this is something that what institute or department or individuals are going to get out of these projects. Now, one thing which will always be there in these projects, sponsor projects, is the overhead. Actually, in fact, we have national consultancy also, so we have some kind of overhead. Now, that overhead is mainly meant for the or left to the institution, right? And they have to then arrange it how they want to use this overhead. For example, at IIT Rockford, whatever overhead is there, which is usually of the tune of 10 to 20% of the budget cost or the project cost, right? That 50% goes to Institute Development Fund. We have something known as, this name may be different for different institutions. 20% of that goes to Departmental Development Fund. That means department has the right, HOD along with the faculty can use that money for some activities. And the 20% goes to the Professional Development Fund of the person or PA. Now, this money is quite flexible. You can buy your small gadgets, or even fit AC in your office and so on, maybe some furniture and things like that. And 10% goes to staff welfare. See the nice distribution here. You are you're contributing some money to almost all segments in a nice way. Okay, and that's why we respect these people who bring money from outside. Please respect these people. Why I'm emphasizing it? Because I have seen some universities, I have seen some institutions where people are so irritated, faculty is so irritated that they don't want to even bring the money, because their administrative procedures, they don't want, they they don't allow them to even purchase the equipment smoothly and so on. Okay. Uh, See, in project, lot of autonomy can be exercised by the institutions. We should understand that. It's not always that you have to be a very Sarkari kind of person. GST for industrial consultancy goes to government. Now even see this, in industrial consultancy, you are even giving to directly to government of India or your governments. You can pay to staff, students on hourly basis. So this is another aspect of it, that even if you have a money, even you can give money to your technical staff. For example, you are taking help from your one of your lab staffs, so you can give him some money, and even administrative staff also. So on this context, institutions usually have a very elaborated ICSR policy. Industrial consultancy and sponsor such policy. So, for example, we made one in 2010, then we revised it last year, I think 2019, um, and to include all these things into that. Now, these are some of the precautions which we should take during execution of a project. What are those precautions? Let us talk about that. One is stick to the objectives. Okay, at no point of time you should change the objectives. If at all you are going to change, this you have to bring to the agency, notice of the agency, right? Go as per the timeline and achieve suggested milestone. Very important, because at any point of time the agency may ask you to send the progress. Okay, and then they will ask you that please send us the progress of the report, progress of the project, uh, this is your timeline, suggested timeline. Okay, then purchase equipment and consumable strictly as mentioned in the original report. Again, this is something which we should exercise. We should not go or deviate from that. If we are going to deviate from that, please get the approval of the agency. Okay, not of the institution, but of the agency. Take care of expenditure head, usually non-transfer. What it means? It means that your money is given you in different heads. For example, manpower, consumables, equipment. So usually these are non-transferable heads. You can't use the equipment head money. You can't use the equipment head money for your uh, equipment money for say consumables, right? So that cannot be used. If any change in plans required, take approval of the funding agency. As I said earlier, keep compiling results and publish a patent report. This is again very important. Uh, Sometimes it happens that okay, you keep on doing your work with GRF, and your GRF is doing work and so on. So this again from my personal experience, that please ask your GRF or your staff that please keep compiling the results. No, because we can't predict when they will ask to send the report, as I said. And also publish your work, um, you know, and so on, if it's possible. If it is patentable, start the process for patent and so on. If the industry or other institute is involved, sign MOU or ND. Very important. Okay, so in some projects, our industry is also involved. For example, in my this course pay setup project, GE was involved. So a very elaborate MOU was signed with them, and usually the industries go with NDA also, right? And regular meetings with the project partners and research staff are very important. Okay, you can't leave things at its own. For example, I usually have weekly meetings with my research staff. Okay, so you can fix it in a calendar. I mean, just to give you the management aspect of it, so that you don't forget. You meet your staff maybe for 5 minutes, but every month, every week you have to meet them. This will help you achieve. Then comes another aspect of it. Once you have got the project, okay, so as I said, every year they will look for progress of the project. Okay, so again, there some agencies they will call you for a presentation, rather most of the agencies, right? So uh, that is uh, that is something which we should keep in mind. So always remember the date of start of the project, usually within 1 month of the receipt of the first installment. Why I want you to keep this in mind, because this will help you to make these annual reports, even if not asked. Actually, this is a good practice that every year you send some annual report, because as I said earlier, if you leave everything in the last minute, you will not be able to make the full report of 3 years or say 2 years. So it's good practice to send the information to them. Keep sending UC SOE for each financial year, whether asked or not. Always attend the review meeting. Never miss. It's a serious skill. And this is very important actually. If they call you for a review meeting, where they again ask you to present the progress of your work, you should not miss it. If you miss it, it's taken very seriously, very seriously. You should not do that, right? Uh, so what are usually the contents? Again, they will give you the contents, but usually they ask in the progress presentation, they ask you objective-wise progress, milestone achieved, budget utilized, budget required in the forthcoming year, salient research finding, publications, patents, technology transfer, etc., and research staff trained, etc. Okay. Follow the format given by the agency. Again, whatever format they are going to give you, you have to follow it in that respect. So again, I can have this one more. Mhm. Yeah, this is like again, this is about progress. The earlier one was for the initial proposal, right? Where we propose the work. Now that has been received, and now they have asked for a progressive. So this was again in person at HCL Bangalore. So we have to go there, and then again, usually they will ask you about project details. Again, very crisp information has been presented here. Then the project objectives. I am following their format only. So these were, and if for example in this proposal, this project evaluation committee, advisory committee has changed one of the objectives, so I have written here also. Okay. Um, Now this is objective wise status. So this was objective number one. So this was objective number one, and this is what we have achieved. Okay. So you may follow some other formats also, but we thought of that. Let's write objective here and then say whatever we have achieved here, okay, and some figure to show those things. Okay, of course you can elaborate it as per the time. And then the second objective was this one, so show it this like this, okay. And third was this, fourth was this, and then more details. Okay, whatever details have been asked, we have presented. Right? So, of course, this was like year-wise. So, latest work, second year also was asked. So, we presented that also, and so on. This one interesting slide here. That usually after 1 year, you may get some kind of recommendation, okay, or suggestions by the reviewer. So you have to answer them. Again, if even if they don't ask, you should tell them that this is what was suggested last year. I have taken these actions. Okay. So for example, these are the comments or recommendations by the panel, and these are comments by PI that what we have done on it, and these are marks, but whether we have achieved those suggestions or not. That's all. These are backup slides. Okay, that's all. So this is the way. Of course, a budget was also there, okay, so that can be. Then comes now the project completion. So having done everything, uh, there will be like two things here. One is project completion report, strictly as per the format specified. So the agency will ask you, one is the project completion report. Secondly, they may call you for progress presentation also. So again, progress presentation, you have to go there and present your work. Okay. So again, they will give you some kind of format. So if no format is given, usually this kind of content is asked for. Objective-wise achievement, milestone achieved, budget utilized, salient research findings, publications, research staff, technology transfer, future roadmap, and so on. Okay, let me quickly show you here the project completion report. So again, I am following their format on. Okay, uh, means these titles are given by them. Okay, implementing institutions, date of commencement, plan date of completion, and so on. Objectives, deviation made from original objectives, if any, right? Uh, experimental work giving full details. So we can give here. Now, here, what I want to suggest to people is that so use annexures actually to elaborate more on these sections. Here in the, I would say, cover format, you only write salient details. More details you can put in the annexure. So that this full, now this is point 11 of that format, it is shown in the first 3-4 pages, right? Because it's like a summary, so that the reviewer can first go through the summary and then go into the details. Okay, so this is all what has been asked. We have written it here properly, right? And this one, this here it ends, 10 pages. After that, there are annexures. We have put annexures. Now, if a person wants to have more details, he can come here and read it, because this report is going to be very big. Okay, so so this is the way you can keep on adding the information. Similarly, we can talk about project completion presentation also. So once you have, as I said, they may call you to present this. Again, you can show them, okay, that you have achieved it. Again, as per their format. So you can make this kind of tables. This is another way of showing them that how you have achieved versus your objectives. So you can write the status here. These are original objectives and so on. Okay, and this is experimental work which we have done. Again, it's a nice way to present it. So this is a more comprehensive kind of details, micro details of what has been done. New knowledge observations and expenses budget but versus actual, that how we have used the budget. Okay, so this some budget was left in this project, so that was sent back. Procurement and usage of equipment. Usually they ask that, well, you have taken these equipments, costly equipments, what are you going to do it? Okay, so there you can mention that now you are going to use them for, say, undergraduate teaching and to continue your research and so on, things like that. The publications and so on. Now these are backup slides. So or in such presentations, because you are closing the this project, so somebody may ask you more details about your work, right? What you have done actually. So more results they may ask. So bring all these results, take them with, along with you. Nobody knows what they can ask, right? So I think that these are many slides, maybe 100, and so we're not going to open them until you are, unless you are asked. Okay. So this is what is project completion presentation. Now this these are some of the you know uh, ideas that how to write project, how to execute it, how to follow the progress, or how to present the progress, and how to present the closure, and so on. Then we can spend some more time on future roadmap. See, especially this is for bigger projects. They may ask you that what are you going to or how you are going to use this facility. For example, this course day we have bought. So they may ask, they have asked me that the project is closed. What are you going to do now, right? So for that, this I have, again from my own experience, I have made this future roadmap. In fact, I spent a lot of time on it. That is, sometimes I feel proud showing this. So here I made these three sections in that to write this future roadmap, uh, which here I just again for clarity of the person who is reading it. So this course web facility will cater to say following classes: EIs group, other departments, national education institutions, industry, and they have asked for 5 years. So I have written here 5 year: startups, international outreach, education and skill development. These are few possibilities by uh, which you can utilize your equipment in future. Okay, so financial sustainability, how we are going to do it, and outcome plan. Okay, so I can show you quickly this one, whatever I have submitted there. No worries, I will finish by 11:30. So this is a roadmap. Uh, so this is so these are all categories, and but they may not get convinced with only writing these. I have explained them that how and what kind of specific program or research I am going to do with in my group, and how I am going to do it. Other departments of my group, or how they are going to use it. Maybe some of my colleagues are going to use this, and so on. And national education institutions, some industry, and so on, startups and industry, education and skill development. So then financial sustainability models for this facility. Now, how can we make money out of our equipment? Probably I can stop for 1 minute here. For example, industrial consultancy is one way, sponsor project is another one, but leasing out equipment time to industry on time sharing basis, this is another thing which we are trying. I'm in touch with some industry. They want to use my equipment on time sharing basis, so we can give them a revenue share model if industry wants to use this facility for production for a given tenure. Paid hands-on workshops for industry. We are trying one now. Paid hands-on workshop for people from academic and research organizations. Outsourcing the service to develop something for the concept jobs for industry startups, etc. Okay. So I mean, these are some of the ideas, but there may be some more models also. And these are outcome plan. So in outcomes, let me tell you that we need to be quantified. We need to set up our quantifiable goals actually. Okay. So for example, if I say in next 5 years, I'm going to produce 10 publications. Okay. Why? Because they want to then evaluate. Usually they ask this question that, okay, you say I will publish out of this facility. Then how many? How we will, after 5 years, how we are going to evaluate it? So is there any target, say 10, 12, 30, or so on? Okay, that's why you have to be careful. Try to make them more quantity in quantity, not in quality, and so on. This is another question which I have posed, that how the projects help to build up connections nationally, internationally. See, one is that through the reviewers you get noticed. See, when you write a proposal, it goes to several reviewers, and then they notice you. For example, I was in ISC Bangalore one day, and you know, a very well-known professor. Uh, I was, taking tea with him. He invited me for that project later on. Then he said, Harpreet, I know you since 2006 when you submitted your proposal to probably CSIR or DST. Then I said, how? How come? Then he said, your proposal came to me, and I noticed that a person in a private college is doing some work, right? So this is the way actually. And meeting people during project meetings again, this also helps you when you go out of your our chamber. I mean, let me be very frank, we guys are so lazy, we don't want to leave even campus actually. So, and staying in campus, nothing will happen actually. uh, if you go out, meet the people, discuss things, and in that discussion sometimes joint proposals come, right? Or joint research comes, or at least your you know way of thinking changes. So please get out of your comfort zones. Soon you become a reviewer and get know what people of your areas, a member of evaluation committees. So this is something which I have now started gaining. Of course, it takes time. Joint project writing, joint connection, both nationally, internationally. Let me tell you that whatever proposals I have written, uh, I first got the connections, and those connections came from such kind of meetings or conferences and so on. Conferences, seminars, etc. from project money help to connect connection, ecosystem, develop case study, and so on. So, this is really helpful, okay, both way. Uh, this is another question, which is involvement of industry in projects. Is it necessary? Not always, but there is increasing demand from funding agencies to involve industry, okay? So, yes, nowadays, most of the agencies are emphasizing it, okay? Because India is, now spending whatever money it has on applied research now, not more on fundamental. That's what my observation is. I may be wrong. So when we say applied research, so we need people from, funding industry also to get involved. Okay. So usually they ask for that how much industry is getting or participating in terms of money. So money is not always hard cash. It can be in kind also. For example, in my UAY project, GE participated in kind. That means they helped me to develop votings and so on. And that in kind also, become cost, kind of cost. So this one. But one thing is sure, chances of getting funding become more. So involve them whenever possible. Industry involvement is encouraged in general. Okay. This, I think, I have talked how the such facilities can be made self-sustaining up to project tenure. Okay, this I have in my this roadmap document I have shown. I have talked about these, and these are some of the funding agencies. Again, lot more are there actually, so you can try this one. Then there are some international agencies also. So our country has these tie-ups with almost all developed countries or even underdeveloped countries also, Africa, etc. So you can keep on exploring their websites and keep on doing things. This is the last one, research grants. This just to conclude. So these are our parts. I have already discussed it. So what do reviews look for? Novelty, capacity, and track record of individual to deliver. Project value for money projects, impact on society. Big no is of course plagiarism. You have to I forgot to mention it somewhere, but plagiarism is a very big no. Okay, and and the best way to get a grant is never writing one. Okay, and the best way to get a grant, follow the instructions. Okay, so keep trying. This essentially this means that keep trying. If I waited for the perfection, I would have never write a word. Actually, this is what he said. So sometimes I have seen some of the young students saying, "Sir, still I don't have experience. Let me learn this that." No, you start trying this. Actually, you start writing proposals. That is the way actually. From my own experience, I know when I was even I did my masters and then I wrote one project. So it was rejected, but then still I was happy that to get that letter that it is written that the proposal could not be accepted. No? This one that. So please let us keep on trying it. But if you don't want to get a grant, never write a proposal. But if you want, keep trying. Okay. Thank you very much, and I hope we are in time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this very informative talk. Now, participants, if you have any queries, you can write in the chat box. Dear participants, if you have any query, any question, you can write in the chat box. Thank you, sir. I think there is no doubt in the. Most of the candidates are asking for this PPTs, and we will share the video recording of this lecture.
Yeah, that would be good actually. You can share that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Let us work together actually. We need to, try actually. Let us try our best.
Yes.
And never bother about the results actually. Quite often we feel कि यार I will write a proposal, पता नहीं reviewers क्या सोचेंगे, ये सोचेंगे, वो सोचेंगे. ऐसा कुछ भी सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. Reviewers are also happy when they see people attempting actually. So let us try that. That's my request, that we should all keep on trying, and through trying only we get something. अगर हम try नहीं करते तो कई बार हमें, I mean, even God will not be able to help us actually, right? So thank you very much, and all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you. You can anyway, yeah, thank you. So may I leave now?
Yes, sir. You can leave now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.